I'm telling them that I can't breathe. Clearly he don't give a damn about my plea. His ancestors used to hang us on trees. Today they identify as road police. You see I'm black, for that I'm a threat to America. My rise is their fall and their fall is evident. Blood on your hands is heavier than an elephant. Up America's closet and see skeletons.
So, I'm a 20th. And this is Reignite Sandy Speaks. Again, welcome. So if this is your first time here, welcome. And I'm glad you're here. Reignite Sandy Speaks is a reigniting of Sandy Speaks, which was first produced by the late, great Sandra Bland. If you're returning, thank you. I appreciate you. Keep coming back. And you know, it's important that you share my videos and share my goals and objectives. So if you don't mind, because I try to remember this, please subscribe and like, and I think hit the bell. I'm not familiar. I think I've heard YouTubers say that, so I think the bell down there somewhere notifies you when I do a video, and I'm working on being more consistent. You guys, it's my goal to do at least 2 a week, and I'm struggling with that. Anyway, this is Reignite Sandy Speaks, and you know what this series is going to be? To Catch a Racist. If you guys remember, if you've been watching since the beginning, we are going to do a list of governmental agencies, governmental employees, like judges, officers, people in the public eye who have been found guilty of anti-black treatment. So today we're going to talk about. So today is going to be to catch a racist. And so one of the things that I'm going to focus on, you guys, are judges. If you've been here before, you know I believe that a lot of the attention in this country is towards law enforcement. And I don't think law enforcement is the major culprit. I think the judicial system is. I think the judges are. The law enforcement has to answer to the judges when put before a judge for any kind of claim against them for abuse of power or whatever law enforcement get in trouble for. What do they get in trouble for? Like excessive force, rape. Now it's a lady in California. I know I'm not going to say her name. Her name is Joanne Sagoski. I'll put it in here. She works for the police association. She's an executive, and she is being charged with importing fentanyl and other opioids. So I'm not saying she's racist, but to catch a racist, we are going to create a list of people specifically people in the public eye, people in government. We can also track individual industries, like a manager or like maybe, I don't want to name a company because that wouldn't be fair, but like maybe a coffee company who discriminates against black people, or a grocery store has been known for racist behavior and anti-black behavior. So we're going to create the list. The list is going to be to catch a racist. And one of the major focus in To Catch a Racist is going to be judicial officers. And so let me say this to you. This is Reignite Sandy Speaks. You can find Reignite Sandy Speaks videos on YouTube and also on this channel here. Judge Sarah Heidel is a racist, so I have a section for Reignite Sandy Speaks on this website. But also, we have a second website. And you guys, I'm working on this website, and I'm really behind. It's called, I'm going to put it here if I don't say it right, Removes Judge Lawrence Riff from the Bench. Judge Lawrence Riff is an anti-black judge. He was the assistant family court supervising judge until he harmed me. They never made me whole or gave me justice. They just quietly moved him. Because he and some other judges did some horrible things to me. So this episode, we're going to talk about judges. And we're going to talk about specifically this judge. His name is Judge Sibley Reynolds. I'm going to put him right here. Judge Sibley Reynolds sat on the bench in Alabama. I think it's called Elmore County. And so what we're going to talk about is some of the people that Judge Sibley Reynolds sentence after committing heinous crimes. The first one we're going to talk about is 20. This gentleman was 20 years old when he committed this crime. His name is David Michael Carr. I'm going to try to put their photo up here, you guys. David Michael Carr of Millbrook, Alabama, was found guilty of killing his girlfriend's 3-year-old daughter. Yeah, you guys, that's kind of gruesome and ugly. Judge Sibley Reynolds, he sentenced David Michael Carr to 15 years and a day for beating Sarah Renee Lowry to death. You guys, this was a 3-year-old girl, and you know what? I'm sorry, you guys, but I'm suffering from anxiety and depression, so I get real bad anxiety when I talk about things that are uncomfortable for me. And my heart starts to race, and I get a little bit excited. But you guys bear with me. I have to just take a deep breath. So again, to recap, I'm sorry, you guys. Judge Sibley Reynolds sentenced David Michael Carr to 15 years and a day for beating a 3-year-old girl to death, And you know, I guess it didn't make any sense. It just, they didn't put her, I looked for her photo online. I saw a post about the murder of, her name is Sarah Renee Lowry. It's Lowery. He beat her to death. And I saw a post online, but it was a picture of a teddy bear with angel wings. So you guys, can you imagine your 3-year-old baby being beat to death by this man? It was his girlfriend's daughter, who wasn't his daughter, it was his girlfriend's daughter, and he beat her to death. She had wounds to her head, torso, and legs. And so get this, you guys. It says here, he was originally charged with murder, but had his charges downgraded because he admitted to acting reckless. So they charged him with manslaughter. So, white people, if you're watching, I do want you to pay attention, because these judges who harm black people, racism and anti-black behavior is a function of bad ethics and morals, lack of integrity. So to the white people who are watching, you are welcome to help me comfort these people, because when they abuse black people, this again is an indication of corruption, low morals, ethics, integrity. They harm black people more prevalently because they know that it's the possibility of them getting away with it is more possible, because we have less resources, and we know how that goes. So anyway, the guy, his name was David Michael Carr. And so again, I want to talk about this to you guys intelligently, and I just want you guys to think about this. This man beat a 3-year-old to death. And because he admitted to behaving recklessly, they gave him manslaughter. He was 20 years old. America was happening. He beat a 3-year-old child to death. And the judge, coming for these judges, y'all, Judge Sibley Reynolds gave him 15 years and a day for beating a baby to death. Judge Sibley Reynolds gave David Michael Carr 15 years and a day for beating a 3-year-old baby to death. And because he admitted to being reckless, they said reckless. It's not reckless, it's evil. It's egregious. It's heinous. They use the word reckless. And family, I want you to understand and notice what the words they use when they describe crimes that are committed by white males. And this is Reunite Sandy Speaks. I also do critical thinking with the 20th key, but we will also think critically on Reignite Sandy Speaks. How is it possible? What person, human being in their right mind is going to allow him to admit that he did something, that he was reckless? Reckless is when you go off drinking and driving. That's reckless. Somebody even think that's heinous. Reckless is when you don't put your seatbelt on. Reckless is when you drive and you talk on the phone and you accidentally get in an accident and kill someone. That's reckless. To beat a 3-year-old baby, to beat a baby of 3 years old in the head, torso, and legs. This white judge referred to this behavior as reckless. I'm not going to get caught up because it's been 10 minutes, so I'm going to keep on going. I know my videos be too long. The second one is this guy that another criminal. This guy's name is Wesley Phelps. 28-year-old Wesley Phelps was charged with I think he was charged with murder. He wasn't charged with murder. Okay, the man's name is Wesley Phelps, 28, who was on parole. Wesley Phelps, 28 years old, was on parole. He had warrants. He stole a car. A police pursuit ensued where they chased him for 21 miles. It ended in a fiery crash. And his girlfriend, her name is Melissa New, perished in this fiery crash. And Judge Sibley Reynolds convicted Wesley Phelps of manslaughter and gave him 3 years. This is a white man. And so, family, again, what we're doing is we are detailing the inequalities in this country inflicted on black people. Reunite Sandy Speaks' major primary goal is to demonstrate that black people are not equal in this country. That America has broken its promise under the 14th Amendment, that we're not equal. And I'm demonstrating this. And you know, because I'm a critical thinker and it is so many egregious crimes done to black people, to white people. If you're watching this was a white man. And he killed his girlfriend. A white man killed his girlfriend. A white man who was 28 years old, who was on parole, who had warrants. And Judge Sibley Reynolds gave him 3 years for killing his girlfriend. And while I'm here to demonstrate again the inequalities done to black people. But I can't help but to think of the injustice done to white people. This is injustice for you. Because we're not treated equally and fair in this country. And white males are treated with privilege. We all are suffering. If one of us suffering in the community, we all are. And I know, and the family. See, I know the family. The family gonna be like, "Why you being sympathetic to them white people?" That's what they get. But y'all know I ain't no racist. I'm humane. I love people in general because I'm a good person with a good heart, and I don't have any insecurities. This is about a specific young black child who was harmed, and I can't help but to hurt for this 3-year-old child, Sarah Renee Laurie, who was beat to death. And her killer only got 15 years. I can't help but to feel bad for Wesley Phelps' girlfriend, Melissa New, who's dead and died. And her killer got 3 years. And see, I know white privilege because I was married to white privilege for over 23 years. And this is what white male privilege does. This is why they're very, they are very arrogant in how they move in this world. If you're a white male and you're not arrogant like that, if you're a white male and you don't have these nasty traits that were passed on to you by your father, or you feel this way or feel empty or hurt because your father didn't treat you well, see, I know Donald Trump, these white men, I know white men who were harmed by their fathers, made to feel inferior by their fathers. So they want to beat on their chest and act crazy. When y'all see these people out here killing, going into schools and killing schools and the crazy shit that they're doing, see, family, I said we got to get our ducks in a row. Because the universe is going to take care of them. Okay? White people, I ain't trying to be racist. I'm just calling it what it is. My purpose is to liberate black people. To one day, sometime in the very near future, that my people are going to be free and equal in this country. But this compare and contrast is showing you how white males get away with murder. And white people, white males, is more likely going to harm you, your neighborhood, your circle of influence than us. So if they're getting away with murder, you might want to hop on board when I find to catch a racist. Because if they're harming black people, they're harming white people too. I promise you that they are. Every racist we find, I bet you it's going to be a case where they did something unethical, corrupt to someone that looked like them. They just do it to us fast because they know they can get away with it. Anyway, family, what this is about is young LaKeith Smith, 15-year-old LaKeith Smith. 15, not 20, not 28, not with a record of parole, a 15-year-old child who's never been in trouble. He and his friends were breaking in unoccupied homes in the neighborhood. And the police came, someone called the police on them. I might find that clip and put it in here because I want y'all to hear part of it for a specific reason. In the clip, when the lady calls the police on them, she says 3 males. She doesn't say black. The person who answers the phone, it said black men. She goes, yeah, 4 black men. She didn't name them as black men. She said 3 men. She misspoke. It was 4 men. The dispatcher said black men. So you could take that any way you want to take it in Alabama. You would say, oh, well, because black people are doing shit. I'm not going to touch that one. But I find it very suspicious that the dispatcher assumed that they were black, even if they were. So this young man, and it's questions about this. I don't want to get too much into the actual case. I will link the case down below as a video about the entire case. Sorry about the noise, you guys. It's a whole video about the case. They were breaking into homes. Yes, they committed crimes. Yes, what they did was wrong. And I'm not trying to say that it's acceptable. And I don't like to be the person that says, oh, what did you do when you was 15? When you was 15, I don't really like to compare that. But we have to be honest. When you're 15, you do dumb shit sometimes, right? Especially if you are not being properly monitored. And I hate to say boys will be boys, but it's the truth. Boys oftentimes, not even boys, just teenagers in general, are sometimes easily influenced by other teens. We know that teenagers get in trouble. This is a granted. They're 15. Their minds are not developed. They make mistakes. We all have made mistakes when we were younger that we wish we never did. We learned from. But this 15-year-old was breaking into, they would do home invasions. I guess they were going breaking in because I don't know if it's home invasions. No one was there. But they keep focusing on, they were breaking into homes that no one was there. So I think that's important because they weren't like breaking in, scaring people. They were breaking in people's house, stealing their stuff. Okay? When the police came, they said it's not a body cam for the first shot. I think they're trying to insinuate that the kids shot at them. But then they said no body cam. But one of the police officers killed the young boy. I think his name is Dante Sherman. I think his name is Sherman. he was murdered. He was killed by a police officer. I think he was shot several times. Okay. LeKeith Smith, he ran. He hightailed it. He ran away. Family, they charged LeKeith Smith with murder. And Judge Sibley Reynolds gave him life. So again, this is Reunite Sandy Speaks. And what we're doing is comparing and contrasting. And let's say this to you, family, to the white people who think maybe the judge was just in a bad mood when he talked to, or whatever. Judge Sibley Reynolds sentenced LeKeith Smith the same day he sentenced Wesley Phelps. The same day he gave a white man who was 28 years old, who had been on parole, who had warrants, who stole a car and killed his girlfriend in the car, was given 3 years and charged with manslaughter. And you know, you guys, I've got a thing on my, let me see what this is. I want to tell you guys this because I want to say it right. I know it's on my phone. Bear with me a second, you guys, because I wasn't prepared. I thought about this just now while we were talking. I know that I screenshotted it on my phone. Bear with me, family. I thought I did. What I thought I screenshot on my phone was the law, and it's a law in Alabama about committing. I think they're called federal crimes. I apologize, you guys, because I definitely screenshot the law. Maybe I did it on my iPad. I'll find it and I'll put it in here. And according to the law, dang, I'm so sorry, you guys, I can't find it. According to the law, if you commit certain crimes, you're charged with murder. And so, if you guys don't know about Kyle Rittenhouse, that's one of the issues with Kyle Rittenhouse and his judge. It was so egregious to me. They didn't charge Kyle Rittenhouse with the crime of carrying the gun. And I believe specifically they threw out any charges with the gun, because had he been guilty of carrying the gun, having the gun was a crime, he'd have been charged with murder. When you commit a crime in this country, regardless of the crime, if someone dies while you're committing this crime, you can be charged with murder. It's at the discretion of the judges. And see, family, to catch a racist, we're going to have a strong focus on judges, because judges have discretion. And that's what happens. That's one of the reasons why we are harmed the most. This is one of the greatest areas in this country that black people are harmed, because much of the law, sometimes laws are mandatory. Sometimes it's not up to the discretion of the judge. Some laws are specific. It doesn't say based on what the judge, at the discretion, it says the court shall or will. Okay, it doesn't give them discretion. In many of these cases, the judges have discretion. And this is what a lot of people who are involved in social justice with me, specifically somebody in particular, they call white degeneracy. And what they say is that we can't really ever think or believe that we're going to be free, because they have the power, that they have the discretion. But here's the thing. Black people are citizens in this country. We are the people, just like anybody else. Matter of fact, we built this country about in free labor, and we were never made whole. So you all know, I'm not of the mind that this is their country. I'm of the mind this is our country, that we are American citizens, and that is the main reason why Reunite Sandy Speaks exists. I am documenting the inequalities. Judge Sibley Reynolds violated the rights of LeKeith Smith. And you guys, on this channel, you're going to see me give Attorney Ben Crump some smoke. Oh, Attorney Crump, you know you're going to come up with the smoke. Lee Merritt, I don't know. But Attorney Crump, you know I'm going to come with the smoke. And I'm coming with the smoke because I appreciate what you do, Attorney Crump. But this is me trying to strong arm you into doing what you're supposed to be doing with all the millions of dollars you're making. And so what I'm saying to you, I know I don't went on this tangent. I digress for a second. Attorney Crump goes after all these cases of abuse of force, wrongful deaths by law enforcement. But he'll speak it in public. He'll speak it publicly that this is due to discrimination, racial discrimination, bias. This is due to how, because black people are treated differently. But Ben Crump never, and I can't say never because I don't read his court. You know what? I can't say never because I don't read his documents. He posts some more on Twitter and Instagram, so maybe I'm going to investigate. For what I know, Ben Crump never charges or puts in his charges against the police officer or whomever harmed the individual. He never says, or he never makes the claim this was done because that person was black. And you guys, I don't want to confuse you because I want you to understand this. I know that I'm kind of long-winded, and because I'm suffering from anxiety and depression, I sometimes struggle with train of thought. Okay, so I know that I can be a little confusing. So I'm going to say this to you slowly. This is what Reunite Sandy Speaks is about. My issue with Ben Crump is that he'll get a lawsuit or claim for damages, for abuse of power, excessive force. But he never says it's due to the color of their skin. See, that's a 14th Amendment, that's a 14th Amendment violation. If Ben Crump pursued these people under the violation of the 14th Amendment, that they were treated this way because they were not equal, then it would be precedence on the books that ABC was harmed because they were black. And so let me give you an example. In the case of Amir Locke, or the young lady, let me see her name, Breonna Taylor. In the case of Breonna Taylor, Amir Locke, they died as a result of no-knock warrants. And often people are fighting against no-knock warrants. And see, this is the thing, America. I'm not really fighting with the laws that are on the books because I believe these laws were put in place to protect the people. The problem is that the laws apply differently when they're black people. And that's called inequality. That's what the 14th Amendment was for, to ensure that black people are treated equally when they released them from slavery. But instead of ensuring our equality, other minority groups are using the 14th Amendment. And it's not being applied appropriately to black people. So let me talk about LaKeith Smith again. And you know what? I'm going to throw this to you. I'm going to send you this Attorney Crump. And you know what? I think you have the money. I know it costs money. I know that you have a lot of your resources are going towards other cases. But in the case of LaKeith Smith, we can demonstrate beyond a reasonable doubt that this young black man was treated differently than Wesley Phelps. Not only was he treated differently, that it was done on the same day. So I'm going to say to you, Ben Crump, I know Ben Crump has a case against Florida for discrimination, okay? But I hope I'm not confusing you too much. I kind of went left on this conversation because these are the reasons why we're not free and equal, because there are not enough attorneys in this country that are focusing on the liberation of black people. They're not focusing on these cases when we can show beyond a reasonable doubt that this was discrimination. In the case of, I didn't touch that one. In the case, I didn't finish that. In the case of Breonna Taylor and Amir Locke, they died as a result of a no-knock warrant. The question is, would the police, would the judges be as free or as accommodating in signing a no-knock warrant if this was a white neighborhood, if this was a white residence? And how you determine that, family, is you look at the no-knock warrants in these cities, and you look at how many are done in white neighborhoods and how many done are in black neighborhoods. And so in the case of Breonna Taylor, I know for sure, and no one, and this woman has not come up to scrutiny, very small. She was mentioned, but it didn't stay in the case in the public's eye. This is why we're doing Reunite Sandy Speaks. We're going to call these people out. We're going to catch a racist. In the case of Breonna Taylor, Judge Mary Shaw signed a no-knock warrant, allowing officers to go into the home of Breonna Taylor and her boyfriend without knocking in nighttime. Judge Mary Shaw. You see, family, there is a hierarchy. There are different checks and balances in this country, and the purpose is to ensure that there's no corruption, that we're treated equally. So the judge has a higher standard. A police officer has a limited education. Police officers are responsible, charged for keeping the peace, right? But that's why it's a second tier, that in the event that there's a charge, that we go before a judge who is educated, who studied the law, who became a lawyer and excelled to a judge. So a judge signing a no-knock warrant to go into a black woman's home who does not have a history of violence, breaking the law, anything, it speaks to how black people are treated in this country. And you guys, I'm so sorry. I always worry that I'm being articulate enough because I struggle with train of thought. I struggle with staying focused because I myself am a victim of hate crimes by the state of California. And I have been suffering from depression for the past 2 or 3 years. I have been suffering with anxiety, and this is what it's doing to me. It's making it hard for me to even function, to speak, to keep my thoughts accurately. And as a black woman, I don't deserve that. As a black male, LeKeith Smith did not deserve to get a life sentence. They charged him a life sentence because a police officer who we believe wrongfully shot and killed a teenager. And it's very unfortunate that he was murdered in breaking into these people's home, and to the young boys, young kids. Don't break the law. Don't do crimes. You do crimes, you're going to be punished. But the punishment is supposed to fit the crime. You're going to give a 15-year-old life who broke in a home and he ran away? His friend was murdered by a police officer, or killed. They killed, murdered. They're saying he was wrongfully killed. It was excessive force. But we can't debate that in right now. What we are talking about is Judge Sibley Reynolds. And you guys, this is going to be the case more probably it's going to be a frequency of this. Judge Sibley Reynolds retired. I just recently saw that. Judge Sibley Reynolds retired. And I'm sure he retired because a young man, I think it's called, I don't know your name, young man, but he has the Instagram called Always Film the Police. This is a white male who's exposing the racism in this country. A white male has exposed much of the harm that's been done to black people. So, see, I know white people have a history of doing some egregious shit. And to the family, they be like, why you fuck with them white people? The man I married at 23 years weaponized my blackness. The person I raised my children with, who I've been with since I was 21 years old, he weaponized my blackness. And so to white people, if you get offended because we be talking junk and calling white people racist or not trusting or not believing, because this happens to us every day. This is our life in this country. And so to the gentleman who does Film the Police, I appreciate you. He gets everybody. I don't know if the guy who does Film the Police, Always Film the Police, I don't know his name, but it's his Instagram. I think his Twitter is Always Film the Police. He's a white male. And I don't know if he's specifically targeting abuse of black people. And to be quite honest with you, he probably wasn't doing it just to target officers or abuse of excessive force done to black people. It's just when he did it, that's what arose. Because black people aren't free and equal in this country. And that's why it always is magnified when it comes to the police. And yes, the police are guilty of excessive force, of not treating black people equally. But it's my position that this is the whole country. This happens in retail industries, in retail. This happens in government. This happens in family court. This happens in civil court. And that's why I'm doing Reunite Sandy Speaks, because it's my goal to get an update to the 14th Amendment. People say, when I go in different rooms, they say, we already have the protection. But the protection is not clear and concise. Protection was written in 1870 or 1847 or something like that, when we were seen as 3/4 of a human being, when we weren't seen as human, right? So we need an update to the 14th Amendment. And family, I come from a business background. So when I do things, I know that I need to target a specific target market. This is for black people. Okay, this channel is for black people to report abuse of discretion by judges, discrimination by retail organizations, in employment, in private industry. This channel is for black people to report things. But as we know, with the young man from Always From the Police, is a white male. He's out here doing the work, and it's helping us. So I struggle with saying I'm targeting black people. See, this gotta be for black people. But I'm not gonna turn my back on a white person. They want to come and engage and speak and talk. See, why in America, we need a correction. There's corruption everywhere. Joe Biden is a joke. Now, Gavin Newsom is trying to wave a carrot of reparations in California to get the black vote. Because if you don't know in this country, let me not mess this up, you guys. It goes dark sometimes. If you don't know in this country, they think black people are the minority when it comes to voting, but black people are the decision maker. At the end of the day, who we vote for we are the final decision. And people in politics know that. So Joe Biden was good, and he threw us Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. Thank you. But Joe Biden and his wife are doing some, I think, anti-black stuff. And maybe I'll talk about that on another channel, on another video. Gavin Newsom is the little character. He created a reparations task force. And as black people in this country, when you guys, white people, do things, we know white people gaslight shit all the time. So some black people saying, oh, Gavin Newsom, he cares about black people. No, go on his Twitter. He don't talk shit about it. He don't say nothing about us. When it comes to abortion, gun control, anything that the Republicans are doing that he don't like, he talk about that all day long. But it's all kind of anti-black corruption going on in California, and he's done nothing to address that. But he wants to be the president. He wants to be president of the United States, but he can't keep his state clean. His state is number 45 in education. And he touring the country trying to, be known to get in the good graces of other people in other states. Because he know black people are no longer fucking with Joe Biden. Black people, they voted for Joe Biden because Donald Trump was acting the whole fool. Can y'all don't get mad at me? My daughter be like, Mommy, don't tell people you like Donald Trump. My daughter said, Mommy, don't say that in public. Okay, I'm not going to think about Donald Trump because I don't want y'all to come for me. I'm going to put Donald Trump, I'm going to table the Donald Trump conversation. So going back to this original content of this video, this is about Judge Sibley Reynolds and how he only gave 3 years to a man who beat a 3-year-old child, a white male. How he only gave... he gave 15 years to a man who beat a 3-year-old to death. Charged him with manslaughter. A white man, 20 years old, who beat a 3-year-old to death was charged with manslaughter instead of murder. Only gave him 15 years in a day. Wesley Phelps, 20-year-old white male on parole with warrants, stole a car, committed a crime, and in the pursuit, ended in a fiery crash that killed his girlfriend, Melissa New, and he was charged with manslaughter and only received 3 years. Okay? Poor LeKeith Smith, 15-year-old, made wrong decisions, was hanging with the wrong kids, and someone died during the crime. The police officer murdered his friend. It's believed that he was excessive force, that he wrongly killed the kid. See, I can't argue with him killing the kid too much because the kid committed a crime. And so I'm reasonable. That's why you don't do crimes, family. That's why you don't break the law. But when you go before a judge, you expect to be treated equally. And in the case of LeKeith Smith, he's not being treated equally. And because this good guy, Apple Film, the police called him out, Judge Sibley Reynolds has retired. So listen, family, I'm not going to talk too much about this. I do want to follow up with Judge Sibley Reynolds because what I want to do a deep dive into Judge Sibley Reynolds because what Ben Crump or some lucky attorney, some great loving, black people loving attorney, someone, maybe the governmental DA, Department of Justice, somebody needs to investigate Judge Sibley Reynolds because he's demonstrated abuse of power. He has demonstrated inequality when he had the gumption, the gall, to give a man who was on parole, who had a warrant, history of breaking the law, stole a car and killed his girlfriend. Was being chased in a 21-mile chase that ended in a fiery crash of his girlfriend, Melissa New, of McCall, Alabama. McCalla, MCCALLA, Alabama. LeKeith Smith made a mistake at 15 years old. We got to talk about 20 years old, 28 years old, and 15-year-old. 15 is when you're young. You were just 14. 13, 14, you're babies. 15, you still a baby. You kind of just getting you getting your little young adult on at 15. It's just coming. And he gave him life, took that black child's life. And then he retired. Anyway, family, I do want to wrap this up, but I do want to talk about some other things. If I have time, I'm going to do a video about what is Joe Biden's wife's name? I think her name is Jill. And what she did with the LSU basketball team and how she, that should hurt my feelings. She invited the losing team, Iowa, to the White House. So that was a jab to the LSU. That was a jab to black people. Never in the history has the losers come to the White House. The winners are always invited to the White House. That is one of their trophies of being able to go to the White House. And Jill Biden takes a jab at young black girls who worked hard to win a championship, saying, yeah, you can come to the White House. We prefer to have Iowa. I ain't going to talk about that in this video. I might do a second video right now and we'll talk about it. Anyway, family, I think I covered everything. And again, this is Reunite Sandy Speaks. The purpose of Reunite Sandy Speaks is to document the inequalities, the violation of the 14th Amendment. My goal and objective is to get an update to the 14th Amendment. Also, please, I know my videos are long, y'all. I need to try to keep them under 35 minutes. If you're in Alabama, please share this video. Because what we're going to do, how we are going to do a correction in this country, we're going to do it at grassroots. See, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, everybody has a vested interest in something. They're not really caring about the people. It's about the Republican Party is about their issues, their people, what they want. The Democratic Party is what their issues are, what they want. They're two different games, and it's not about what the people want. Reunite Sandy Speaks about the people. And to I worry about appearing like I'm pandering to white people. But because this is our country and we have to live here together, I just want white people to know. Y'all get mad and want to say that we're using the race card. Whereas white people, I know you know what goes on because I was married to a white man for over 23 years. A white man who was raised by racists. who worked with children at risk, and he would come home and tell me how the psychiatrists and other people in the agencies would speak negatively about little black boys. So to white people who want to come and get on here and leave comments and say stuff about black people or complaining and we're playing the race card, let me let you know that I've been sleeping with, I'm going to say something not nice. I was married to a white man for over 23 years. I have worked in corporate America. I've lived in suburbia. My kids went to school in mainstream, so I know what goes on. And if you want to come and leave a comment and say things that are not true and lie and say that we're playing the race card and we're acting like victims, I don't frequently engage in that. I don't entertain that because I know, as you being a white person, you know what it is because you're white. And to the black people, when you come and you say, oh, she ain't acting black or she thinks she white or she this, that. Let me tell you something. Everywhere in this country, when you black, they remind you that you're black. Everywhere. Kamala Harris is being reminded that she black. Okay? Trust me when I tell you that. Anyway, listen, y'all. I might do some more videos. Just kind of, please subscribe. Share my video. Subscribe. Share my video. I want to make sure I cover everything. Please share my video. Tell your friends about the 20th key. And this channel is called Judge Sarah Hydell is a Racist. We're going to be doing a To Catch a Racist. And we're going to create a list to catch a racist. And we're going to do a strong focus on judicial discretion, abuse of judicial discretion on this website. I'm going to post these videos that are targeted to capturing or identifying racist judges. And we're going to put it on this website. It's called Remove Judge Lawrence Riff from the Bitch. Judge Lawrence Riff is my oppressor. He and several other court officers violated my civil rights. I haven't talked about that much lately because it's hurtful for me. In the next couple of weeks, you're going to start seeing stuff about that on this channel. I've been saying that for a few months, but it's really hurtful for me to discuss and detail what they did to me, but eventually I will. Okay? Listen, I'm a 20th. And this is Reunite Sandy Speaks. Y'all come fuck with me.
Us for killing us for jogging, kill us in our homes and fabricate it and hide it. Where we had Sandra Bland's and Trayvon Martin's. If when you kill us, your family was a target. If your children was orphans, will you have compassion the next time you approach us? Yeah, we fed up, this is built up. Your city up in smoke, homeboy, we had enough. And I ain't Tyson, riots of violence heighten the climate. I'm saying you smack me, I'm punching you in your iris. Retaliation is prescribed in both Bible and Quran. In the matters of the slang, see an eye for an eye, especially if the Justice Department do not comply.